Guys, it's Quana back again with another review, well, rather a recap and a breakdown of episode 5 of Swarm. Of course, Swarm, we know we're talking about Dominique Fishback, but this episode also features the one and only, the black acting icon himself, Leon. And this episode, in my opinion, is one of the most important episodes of this series. And I think one of the episodes that gives the most information, aside from episode 6, about what this show is really about and what's really going on in this show. So we're going to start with the recap and then we're going to go to the breakdown. And if you like this video, if you like this content, if you want more people knowing all of these ideas and these thoughts and talking about this show, because we definitely want to hype this show up. We definitely want Dominique to get like all the nominations next award season. Then don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you can take part in these conversations and give this video a thumbs up if you like the content. But let's just jump right in because it's already taking up too much time as it is. So Dre is at a mall phone store and the rep there is watching a parody version of Ellen, which is called Helen in this world, and they're talking about who bit Nyjah. And the famous actor or musician that she's talking to, he and his wife know who bit Nyjah, but they don't want to give anything away. When she gets there, she wants to find out what she can do to get the phone turned back on. But we find out that Harris Jackson, who we can assume is Marissa's father, has gotten the phone turned off and that the number is going to be reassigned in mere days. She cannot convince this gentleman, played by Ricky Thompson. So shout out to Ricky because he was so cute in this role. She can't convince him to do anything about this. He's just like, you need to go talk to Mr. Jackson and get him to agree to turn the phone back on because I can't help you. His little spidey senses are going off and he's like, this is a little intense, a little weird for me, girl. So I'm gonna need you just to back on up and leave. I was worried about my boy Ricky right there because she started hearing them bees buzzing and I was like, oh no, she can't kill Ricky. But she walks out of the store and she runs into a Nyjah poster advertising the Running Scared tour. And she sees Nyjah and she's just fascinated. And while she's admiring Nyjah in this poster, we see that who reunites with her, none other than Erica, who we met in episode 1. And we get the lowdown on what's been going on with Erica, who's now working at this mall, which is a different mall from the mall they were working at before. She had a baby with Khalid's older brother, Talib. And she also has gotten a tattoo of Marissa on her breast because apparently Marissa always liked her girls. You can tell immediately, like, Dre is so appalled by this because there's definitely an ownership that she feels toward Marissa. Like, how dare you get my sister's face on your boobs? Y'all didn't even know each other like that. Y'all wasn't even cool like that. But anyway, she, meaning Erica, begins to question Dre about like where she's been and what's been going on with her. And so Dre just starts to spin this tale about contacting Drama Queen. And like, for real, let me know in the comments who you think Drama Queen is supposed to be, because I have my suspicions, but given the year and when this is all going on, it's a little bit, interesting for who this possibly could be. But let me know down below in the comments who you think Drama Queen possibly could be. She starts spinning this tale of doing makeup for Drama Queen in place of Marissa. And through all of these interactions, she has somehow not only met Nyjah, but met Nyjah's mother and has become really close with Nyjah's mother. And this has like ultimately changed her life. I'm going to tell you what I think about this story in a second. But after she finishes telling her story to Erica and Erica seemingly believes her, we see that she shows up at this very nice looking home, this very wealthy, posh looking home in the Houston area. And when she gets to the front door, the doormat says the Jacksons. So this is literally Marissa's parents' house. And we can see that they had a little bit of money. Like, this is a really nice house. This is like a nice area, looks like a gated community type area. So this really lets us know that like Marissa possibly came from some money. She knows this house obviously very well because she manages to get into the garage, get a ladder, and get up to one of the windows that she knows is going to be open, and she gets into the house and she starts to kind of like comb through their things. We see her looking at pictures of little Marissa as she was growing up, and she sees this dog named Otis, and the dog at first growls at her, but then it recognizes who she is and it plays with her, like it doesn't attack her. So obviously she's been in this house many times. So this ups the like questions of like, what was Dre's relationship with Marissa? Because like, were they really sisters? Because no one else is really acting like they're sisters. They're just kind of acting like they're friends. But when she goes into Mr. Jackson's office, we eventually see that there is a photo of the family, and when she unfolds the photo, we see that it is a picture of Dre. So she was obviously really their daughter. So we really don't know what all has taken place to kind of get her casted out from this family, because there are no other pictures of her anywhere. We also see that there is like an emblem on the wall that has the name of Harris Jackson Jr., 6 days old, of a son that they must have had that died when he was a baby. So this just kind of further explains a lot of what's going on. She goes through the father's drawer, sees his little nudie mags, and sees a gun and gets his gun. But eventually, Mr. and Mrs. Harris come home. We see it's none other than Leon, which adds so many layers to the fact that that dog's name is Otis, right? And then eventually Dre comes downstairs and holds the mom up at gunpoint and it's like, I need you to turn on the phone. When she says, I don't have anything to do with that, you need to talk to Harris. Eventually Harris comes out with a big old shotgun ready to blast Dre to pieces. And as they begin to talk, they begin to accuse her of being the reason that Marissa is dead. He takes her into the kitchen and they have this long drawn out conversation, but eventually she takes off running and she grabs a rolling pin, guys. For what reason she grabs this rolling pin, I don't know, but it is enough to deflect him from being able to shoot her, because he can't get a shot off to save his life. And eventually she runs upstairs into Marissa's old room and is able to block him out of the room, and she has an encounter with Marissa's old room, and we see that she begins to fall apart. She falls to pieces, but eventually he shoots up the door and breaks into the room, and she has no other choice but to jump out of the window. Definitely twist her ankle, if not worse, when she manages to get down to the ground. And as she is running away, he shouts out, haven't you already taken enough from us? If next time you come here, I'm going to kill you too. You killed Marissa. And she takes off running. And that is the end of the episode. But guys, this episode was so short and yet had so much information in it. So in this episode, they're watching this parody called Helen, which is a parody of The Ellen Show. And the guy that she's interviewing, we're never told his name. And oddly enough, he looked like, I didn't know if that was like Donald Glover's brother or something, because it looks a lot like Donald Glover, but he's playing John Legend. This was an interview from April of 2018 in which Ellen is asking John Legend if he knows who bit Beyonce, and he's saying he and Chrissy know who it was, but basically he's not saying nothing. Okay, so that's the first major Easter egg. The second major Easter egg is that when Erica, at least to me, when Erica tells Dre that she had a baby with Khalid's brother, Dre didn't even know Khalid had a brother. Like, she is utterly shocked, which also kind of shows that Marissa and Khalid probably weren't together that long, or definitely she was kind of keeping Marissa was keeping Dre kind of hidden away from Khalid's family, that she didn't even know that he had a brother. So that was another thing that was kind of shocking to me. You definitely could tell that Dre was super upset about Erica getting that tattoo of Marissa's face. But what stood out to me was two parts of that conversation that I think were really important to what we see take place in the rest of the show, which is one, she says she made a promise to Marissa to get out of Houston, and that is what she's been doing. And she did, in fact, promised her that they would get out of Houston and promised her that she would meet Nyjah. And I think that gives us our motivation for everything that has been going on with her so far, is her trying to fulfill these promises that she seemingly made to her sister. But the other thing, y'all, was when she starts telling the story to Erica, and watch that clip again, she's telling the story and we know that it's fake because we've seen it. So she starts telling it and she starts to cry, and she's telling it in a way that it's like she's starting to believe her own lie, that as she's talking, it's coming to life in her head and she's believing the lie. And that speaks volumes for everything that we have seen that has been from her perspective so far. Because what other things have she shown us through this being like a POV style that is from her perspective, that she's inserted herself into situations that perhaps really didn't even happen, especially the Nyjah bite, because we know that that's based on the real event of Beyonce possibly being bitten by, allegedly, Sanaa Lathan. And in the show, they say that's the girl from Love and Basketball. But like, in what world is Dre as a character going to be mistaken for Sanaa Lathan? First of all, there's at least a good 30 years age difference between the two of them. 20 something at this point in time. Who would believe that that was her? Who would mistake that for her? No one, right? So it makes you believe, was she ever even really there? Or did she hear the story just like other fans heard the story and somehow inserted herself into that situation? The other thing was, right at the end of it, she has like a frappe or a milkshake. It's a little unclear, and I'll look back to try to see if I could see who took a drink out of it first. If it was Dre's drink or if it was Erica's drink. But Dre takes the drink and forces Erica to take a sip of the drink. And guys, you heard that saying before, like drinking the Kool-Aid, like, right? Like it kind of goes to like the Jim Jones way back in the 70s when he made his followers drink the Kool-Aid and commit suicide. And he basically had them believing that their lives were in danger when they really weren't in danger. The only person they were in danger of was him. That's what that made me think of. Like, what, that was so weird, right? Like, she's making her drink this drink as she's telling the story. She's the one who's crying, but she forces Erica to drink this drink. Like, I'm forcing you to believe my lies. I'm spoon feeding you my lies and you're believing it. And really the only other person that we've seen her, only two other people we've seen her kind of like share meals with other than Marissa in the first episode, was Haley momentarily and oh boy, whose name I can't remember, from episode 3 with the skunk, right? Like, we saw that whole like food montage. So like, that's just like really like the symbolism just like sticking with my head, like just making me think of that. Of course, I gotta give you the clip.
They come in to see the Temptations.
Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis.
That is a huge Easter egg that you got Leon in your show. So you're going to name the dog Otis. And facts, right? Ain't nobody here to see you, Otis. And then to know that, okay, Dre was adopted by this family. And in Harris's mind, he only adopted her because he was looking at dollar signs. He didn't adopt her to try to help her. He didn't adopt her because he thought she was good for their family. He adopted her because he was looking for a paycheck. Now, I did notice a difference between the way that the mother treated her and the way that he treated her, because he was downright completely violent to her and viciously violent. But the reiteration that like it was her fault that Marissa died, that makes me think, should we really be re-examining Marissa's death? And is the perspective of Marissa's death, is that a lie? Is that a lie? Is that a lie that Dre has told herself, that Marissa attempted to kill herself? And therefore, are Marissa's self-inflicted wounds really self-inflicted, or were they caused by Dre? Or is he just scapegoating and blaming Dre for Marissa's perhaps her depression that might have set in whenever he kicked her out of the house, because he's removed all evidence that he ever even had this other child from their home. So that there's a lot to unpack here about why Dre is the way that she is. Obviously, I'm gonna reiterate again and again and again, like, obviously killing people is not right, but I can definitely see where people will look at this and feel sympathy for Dre. And I think this episode is really letting us see that, like, she was not safe in that house. And regardless of whatever issues she might have came in there with as a kid, that was on the adults to get her therapy, to get her help, and to treat her with kindness. And she obviously did not. Anytime a parent can take a shotgun to a child, they weren't caring for that child. 100%. If they really thought that Marissa's death was directly caused by Dre, they would have pressed charges. They would have hunted her down. There would be a manhunt for her. But there obviously was not, because Erica didn't know anything about that. So that lets you know some things. But again, this opened up a lot of questions, but I think we also got a lot of possible answers. And so we just got to see how this aligns up with episode 6. So let me know down below in the comments what you thought of this episode. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What was your favorite moments from the episode? And don't forget to let me know who you think Drama Queen is, because like y'all need to talk. We need to talk about this. We need to figure out these clues, because these clues are stacking up. Okay. There's only 2 episodes left of the series. I'll be dropping those episode breakdowns soon. Please come back and see me again. And until next time, toodles.